Hello, Tython. Killer Clowns here. I'm going to present our 2020 vision and goals with a special focus on Q2, April through June 2020. Here are the points that I'm going to cover in this presentation. Up front, I'd like to set expectations that we do understand there are many types of players in Tython. Some of the players have been playing the game Galaxy of Heroes for 3, 4, even 5 years. And those players are well established with their ideas and well established with their go forward plans. Nothing in this presentation is designed to persuade you to shift any goals that you have in place. Instead, we're trying to give information on what elements of the game are the most important to emphasize and prioritize so that you achieve the best possible results for your individual squads as well as for the guild at large. Senior members of the guild already know this, and hopefully the newer members have recognized this as well. We are an extremely strong, stable guild of 50 people. We consistently stay at 50 people, and we consistently do extremely well in the guild-wide events, such as Territory Battle, Territory War, the raids. On an individual basis, some of our players are doing unbelievably well in their arenas, as well as reaching the Kyber level in Grand Arena. Just a fantastic place to game. For Q2, we want to ensure that all the players who are in our guild are keeping it fun, keeping it competitive, and keeping it focused. Because what we've found as officers in the guild is that the bottom line is that this game ought to be fun, and that the people playing in Tython should be both successful and enjoy their time gaming here in Tython. So this presentation will take us through some elements to help fulfill that theme of continuing to win every time, all the time. Here's the officer core of Tython. We've grouped it into different functional areas, but I should also be clear that all of the officers follow a similar philosophy, which is we communicate with one another. We have some special officer chats in Discord, and we share responsibilities across all of the guild areas. So even though we might have some officers that are tagged with Territory Battle, other officers tagged with Territory War, when the actual event is happening, it's all hands on deck. All of us help each other to ensure that the guild has the most success it possibly could have. From a 2020 point of view, we want to really spotlight GOTB as the rallying cry for our guild. This year it's DS Darkside GOTB. Next year it will be Lightside GOTB. We have a plan in place to really get us to 30 stars by the end of the year, looking at increasing by 1 star in Darkside GOTB every other month as we focus farm on the dark side tunes, especially the separatist side, as well as just naturally increase through both natural and organic growth of our individual teams and strong recruiting from the outside. From Darkside Territory Battle, our other goals remain Territory War, farming with respect to Territory War and Territory Battle. We're putting a near-term focus on mods, how to mod our teams correctly, and how to have a process put in place to ensure that we're always staying on top of mods. And then I really want to foot stomp that we're always looking for new ideas. We're always looking for people who are willing to give a little bit more to the guild and the game, enjoy the game by becoming an officer in the guild. I look to tap at least 4 more people during the year. All you have to do is just raise your hand. If you're having fun here and feel like you've got some ideas that you want to inject into the various game modes, or just want to participate in more of the leadership and thought leadership that we have in the guild, we would love to welcome you into our ranks of officers. Looking at Darkside Territory Battle, the only way for us to reach our goal of 30 stars by the end of the year is to consistently put pressure on the various areas where, as a guild, we can do more over time through farming, through gearing, through Zetas, through mods, and so forth, so that we eventually get to that point where we're knocking down every combat mission. We're maximizing stars in every phase, and ultimately when we get to phase 4, whatever stars we get there is just sort of icing on top of the cake that we've already built in phase 1, 2, and 3. Here's sort of a flow of the different areas that you can take a look at to improve your team and your team's involvement, inclusion, and contribution to GOTB. All you need to do is take a look at what you've done in the last few GOTBs, look at this table, try to pinpoint where you are in this table, and pick a couple things that you can chew on. Later on in this presentation at the end, I will give you my personal plan for the 2 teams that I run, the Killer Clowns and the Albus Dumbledore team, so you can kind of see how I've taken these ideas and meshed it into a daily, 3-month, and long-term plan for my own personal gaming. Territory war is another area that we do want to emphasize. Coming into this guild, we've communicated for a long time that territory war is an optional mode, but we're now having upwards of 45, 46, 47 players in the guild joining territory war. So even though it is formally an optional game mode, the reality is almost the entire guild plays it, and we need to play it well. We need to win, and we need to win every single time, and we need to win the right way, because even some of the battles that we win, if the opponent is easier, it might mask some areas of improvement that we should be tackling. We're coming off a war today in which we did reach a full clear, but because we didn't reach a full clear with maximum points, the opponent, who also full cleared their side of the board, actually beat us by just a small amount. So territory war is an area where there are a lot of parts and pieces to it. There are areas in between territory wars where we should be focusing on improving ourselves. The actual strategy of the territory as it's approaching and we see who our opponent is going to be is another area that we work on. And then the final execution and prosecution of a territory war, being on point, being involved in the territory war throughout the 24 hours, ensuring that you're getting your attacks in, ensuring that you're attacking efficiently and effectively, getting your opponent down to 0 with just one matchup because you've used the counter sheets and you've tested your performance against the teams that you're looking at. There's a lot that we're working on with territory war. It's a real exciting time. Even though we lost today, we basically had won the last 15 to 20 territory wars. Today's territory war, we still full cleared the board. So now we're just getting into a new realm. It's almost like soccer, where we were at one level and we've won so much, we've now gotten up to the next level. So now we have to redefine kind of a little bit how we fight these territory wars to get back on that winning streak. So to support all the work that we're doing in territory battle and territory war, it's pretty obvious that our focus is going to be on the dark side, and specifically the separatist portion of the dark side, although dark side almost across the board is going to support all of our guild initiatives. From a territory battle point of view, the separatists reign supreme. The Geos, the separatist droid, Saj Ventress, Dooku, all of these players, and I should say Wat Tambor, all of these players really serve a very significant role in territory battle, as does Bosk and Houndstooth. So take a look at where your team stands with a lot of those tunes and see if you can work some of those tunes into your farming and gearing plans. Otherwise, various dark side teams, First Order, Night Sisters, Bounty Hunters, Zeta Emperor Palpatine, Sith Triumvirate, DR Malak, of course. These teams are phenomenal teams to own, phenomenal teams to develop, and phenomenal teams for both territory battle and territory war. Now, if you are one of the seasoned accounts and you've been playing this game for a long time and you're actually pretty far along on the dark side, then you can definitely take a look at the light side teams. And they will help us in territory war, and they will also start to help us in the light side GOTV as we spend more and more time and pay more attention to it. And you'll just be ahead of the rest of the guild working on those teams. Mods is a near-term focus for us. We haven't actually talked about mods as a guild until very recently when Vistilla did start to run the bot to examine where our various players are. He discovered, areas of opportunity, low-lying fruit for us. Mods is a very challenging area of the game. I personally have struggled with mods, understanding mods, liking the way that mods function, liking the mod mechanics. But regardless of my personal feelings, the ABCs of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is that mods work. Mods are an essential part of the game. Mods are what takes a great team to a superlative team. When you get into territory war, there are teams that you cannot beat, even if you have the right matchup, if your team is not modded correctly. Likewise, if you put some teams on defense and mod them properly, when you actually see the attacks happening by the opponents, you can see your team registering 2, 3, 4, 5 battles against. We've had some teams have upwards of 8, 9, and 10 battles against, and that's not just because those are teams that are correctly geared, and it's not just because they're relict, but it's also because they are modded better than what the opponents are bringing to bear. So mods is something that we're going to spend time on. We're going to be looking at it pretty deeply over the next 4 weeks, and then hopefully by the time we get through May, we'll be letting the guild go because we'll have 50 players, all with a very kind of sharp, on-point mods process. So given the goals of the guild and how best to execute against those goals, I've actually put together 2 plans that I want to share with you for the 2 teams that I run with. One is not an entry-level team, but really just a year-old account, the Killer Clowns. I've been working on it, I would say the first 4 or 5 months. I was like any new player to the game. I was just trying to learn the game. I didn't come in knowing the game. I was just trying to learn the game. My time in Tython has introduced me to a lot of players who really know the game, and they've given me a lot of guidance, a lot of feedback, a lot of good ideas, and so I've really, I'd say over the last 6 or 7 months, tuned my team into a much better team, but it is still a far ways away from being really an exceptional team across the arenas that our guild enjoys. And so I've tried to apply here a first half plan and a second half plan so that you can see what I'm working on a daily basis to improve for every territory battle and every territory war, and then you can see if I'm able to achieve those objectives by the end of June, what I'll be doing from July through December. Now you should know that I'm a free-to-play player, and so I'm doing the best that I can here. Obviously, if I threw money at this, I would get to all of these objectives quicker, but these would still be my objectives. It's just if you were to spend money to get crystals and the other things you can spend money on, I would just achieve some of these goals a lot quicker. But even as a free-to-play player, I'm still able to knock off these objectives and know that these objectives fully mesh into the territory war plans that Bastilla has outlined and the territory battle plans that Libera has outlined. I also run the Albus Dumbledore account. At nearly 5 million, the Albus account is one of the biggest accounts in Tython, and as such, it has significant responsibility. It is supposed to contribute major territory points in territory battles. It is supposed to lay down the most significant or top shelf defense for territory war, and then when the territory war happens, I'm supposed to be able to attack 5, 6, 7, 8 times and attack successfully. I'm supposed to clear the opponent the first time that I hit that opponent, because I should really have almost every counter team that is needed, and I should have developed all those counter teams properly with the proper zetas and the proper relics and the proper mods. So that when I look at the Albus Dumbledore team, I'm looking at a very mature team that I'm trying to really tune up so that it is able to accomplish all that it's supposed to do with the combat missions, the special missions, the deployment in territory battle, the defense, and the offense in territory war. So again, here's my first half plan and here's my back half plan. And you can see that although it's significantly different than the Killer Clowns, it still hits the same tones, which is I'm going after the theme of dark side and separatist first. I'm going after the theme of getting everything to a proper level where it can execute in all those phases before I start to look at light side and anything else that I think I might enjoy in the game. I think our guild objectives easily flow to next steps for you. Take a look at territory battle, where you stand in territory battle, what teams you have, what tunes you have, what have you done over the last couple of months in Darkside Geo, and what do you want to do. From that idea, how do you get more combat mission waves? How do you build up your various dark side teams to perform better? How do you get a watch shard more consistently? Whatever your goals might be, you can develop some ideas, some call to actions for yourself from the roadmap that we've outlined here. Do the same thing with territory war. Although it's a different beast altogether, it has a lot of common themes with territory battle. And the more that you can share goals for both, the more that you can have shared farming for both, the more successful you're going to be, not just in every guild event, but also in terms of maximizing your investment in your team. Once you've gone through this sort of introspection on territory battle and territory war, go ahead and put together your daily and long-term plan. If you'd like to use any of the materials that I use, please DM me. I'll be happy to share with you the boilerplate. You can use it, or just mentally take notes for yourself. What tunes are you going to work on to try to do more in territory battle and territory war? Mods is, as I said, a near-term focus for us. It's an area that is essential to be successful, both as a player in Squad Arena, Fleet Arena, and Grand Arena, but also as a guild player in Territory Battle, knocking down combat missions, and territory war, both on the defensive side, preventing the opponent from just steamrolling through you, and on the offensive side, identifying matchups, jumping on them, and beating those matchups that you should beat because you're modded and tuned better than your opponent is. I know that it's challenging. I'm right there with you if you find it challenging, but it is an essential part of the game and something we're going to have a lot of focus on over the next 4 to 6 weeks. But the bottom line here is always going to be have fun with this game. We are a very competitive guild, but we're a competitive guild with a foundational current of fun. If you're not having fun, please give us feedback. Give us your ideas. Help us make it fun, keep it fun, and make it more fun if possible. And as you do that, please raise your hand to become an officer. We have a great officer corps. You don't necessarily see it, but we have channels set aside for the officers to discuss various ideas in the game in kind of a free, open roundtable format. When we get to a point where we like an idea, then we roll it out to the entire guild. If you find yourself with ideas, they're right there, and we're not executing them properly, jump in. Become an officer, even for just 3 to 6 months, and see that you enjoy the game even a little bit more from a different angle. But even if you don't become an officer, any ideas you have, any feedback you have, we're always open to it. Please send it to me, send it to the officers, communicate it openly, whatever it takes. Let's get those ideas out there, and let's keep pace with the way this game develops and make sure that all 50 of our members are having fun. But with that, and as always, game on, Tython. This is the way. This is our way. We're really happy to have you on board. Continued success to all of you the remainder of 2020.